please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Very good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is a show where we'll highlight all the buzzing stocks of the day, also get you some expert advice on how you can capitalize and trade. I'm NIIT D'Souza, and with me is Mangalam Malu. Hey, Mangalam. We're waiting by for Friday evening, but for starters, Friday morning's been good for the bulls. You have the Nifty that's trading with some gains, and everyone was worried that today, in fact, we're going to be seeing some duties that are going to be imposed. Take a look at the Nifty, the metal index. Everyone's talking about that being under some pressure. Well, it appears that some part of that bad news, at least for the time being, is in the price, because the metal index, in fact, has recovered from the low point of the day. And good to see, Mangalam, when we have more number of stocks that are advancing in comparison to the number of stocks that are declining, that's telling you the breadth of the market as well is fairly good. 1,200 stocks are advancing, and the options data is looking quite encouraging. The 10,700 put, that's seeing a good amount of open interest today, 6.5 lakh shares. And the highest open interest is coming in at around the 10,600 put.
Absolutely, Nigel. You know, it is Friday. We're all waiting for that match, but the market's excited ahead of that match in today's session itself. You spoke about the 10,700 put. For the last few trading sessions, it's been seeing writing, and as we speak, 10,790 on the Nifty. It is actually at the high point of this series so far. Yesterday was 10,786. Now we've gone ahead and crossed that. Guess who's helping them cross it? We have ITC, which is now again moved to the high point of the day after a big move yesterday. Did most of the batting for the Bulls yesterday, and along with that, it's Titan. Actually, that stock should come up for you. Remember, it opened in the red, opened below that 200-day moving average of 825, 826 odd, and there we saw some purchase at the lower level. That stock is up about 4% from the low point of the day. Remember, yesterday it was weak on account of the muted outlook that the company gave for the first quarter. All that and more packed in the next half an hour. I'm Mangalam Malu. With me is, of course, Nigel D'Souza. Here is a look at all the top stories that we're tracking this morning. Oil prices dip as US and China trade war gets real. Oil marketing companies gain in trade.
And Shobha rallies in trade after the company says that the sales volumes for the first quarter jumped by around 18%. The total sales are up by 9%.
It's Friday, but GM Brewery is sulking in trade. Reported strong numbers year on year, but it's a weak set quarter on quarter. Margins have come in over 30%, which is flat quarter on quarter. The stock down 3.5%.
And positive news coming in for Shipping Corporation of India as Shipping and Water Resources Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, declares 500 crore rupees to purchase ships.
Apollo Hospitals, that one buys 50% stake in Lucknow-based Medix International Life Sciences. The company looks to strengthen its presence in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, all right. We have started off. We are holding with some green early this morning. Should you be buying into the Nifty? Well, Ashwani Gujral is with us. Ashwani, early this morning I was listening in to your call that you should be looking to buy into the markets. If you missed that, then should you be buying now, or should you wait for a bit of a dip?
These days, there's no great follow through. So, to get up early to, take profitable trades, because, what happens is that extremes are hit early in the morning, and then the market takes the other direction. If you buy now, your upside could be 20 points. You're heading into this 10,800 zone, which is quite troublesome. So from here, the risk reward is not favorable, because the day's low, which is basically the stop, is way off. If you bought in early morning, this is a good time to take it off, because I don't think this is the big breakout which is going to keep going and going. But for the moment, I think IT is facing a lot of heavy weather at higher levels. So possibly mid-cap IT may have soft day. So that way, Motherson Sumi is a buy with a stop of 297, target of 312. NIIT Tech is a sell with a stop of 1100, target of 1045. And Mindtree is a sell with a stop of 994, target of 970. Now we broke yesterday's low on Nifty, came back. Right now I think we are above yesterday's high. So I wouldn't be surprised if the market again fails at higher levels and comes back towards yesterday's close. So keep that in mind, that this is not a market where you should chase.
All right, a couple of stocks in the mid-cap space, they're moving higher. We have the Adani Group stocks, Adani Power, Adani Enterprises, both of them up around 4-5%, as well as Shrey Infra. After a sort of drubbing that it saw all through the start of this month, it's now recovered a bit. So Shrey Infra is seeing some purchase with a gain of 5%. But Ashwani, a couple of questions, both of them coming in from the consumer space itself. One of them is Titan. That one's recovered from the morning lows. Do you still believe it will go back? And this intraday rally is an opportunity to sell that stock. And secondly, it's on ITC. It saw some movement yesterday, and that movement continues today as well, as it is at the high point of the day. Do you think there's more to go on that one?
See, ITC is not doing anything significant. Basically 255 downside, 285, 290 upside. So maybe heading to the upper end of the range. Titan, I think, is in a strong downtrend. I don't think this pullback will sustain, but I would much rather wait for Titan to tell me that it's bottoming out. So basically all of this selling, bad news, etc. Let's see if it's able to hold 820 finally, but for the moment it's in a strong downtrend.
Okay, all right. Final question, Ashwani, before we let you go. Dalmia Bharat, yesterday it saw a bit of a rally because cement stocks did see a good run. Today, in fact, it's seeing a bit of a downtick. It's already corrected a goodish bit from that 3,000 rupee plus mark. How are the charts looking?
See, cement has bottomed out. I think I've mentioned this 3-4 weeks back. So that way, put a 2100 type of stop. It's way away from its 200, which is 2850. Often, at least a rally back to the 200 is likely, given that it's way overstretched. So I would buy this little decline.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much, Ashwani, for joining in and giving us all those details. We'll touch base with you later on in the trading session. So keep an eye out on some of those cement stocks. As Ashwani said, for Dalmia Bharat, keep a stop of around 100 rupees approximately. And the stock, in fact, could move higher from here. But a bunch of stocks, they're in focus this morning on the back of some brokerage notes. Mangalam has been reading all this morning. Mangalam, tell us, what are you picking up? Interesting notes coming up. I saw Bajaj Auto in there. I saw Ashok Leyland as well in there. Tell us. Interestingly, all the stocks are also reacting to those brokerage notes. So just keep an eye out on Ashok Leyland. Remember, it has been an underperformer from the start of this year. But Kotak believes this underperformance is a reason to buy. They've upgraded the stock to buy. And they say that the slowdown concerns have been overdone. They expect 13% volume compounding over in the MHCV industry over the next 3 years. And they expect Ashok Leyland's revenue mix to come in from relatively less cyclical segments over the medium term, so which means that the revenues would be stable going forward, and the EPS should grow at a CAGR or compounded growth of 21% over the next few years. Container Corp, the other one on my radar, Goldman Sachs says that the company is in a sweet spot due to higher rail containerization and higher export-import growth, the EXIM segment as well, and commissioning of the dedicated freight corridor, the DFC that we keep talking about. That is the big trigger. That will come by much later, I think 3-4 years from now. But in the meanwhile, the company's growth in the containerization as well as EXIM should be good. They have a couple of risks, higher haulage charges by railways as well as lower lead times in their EXIM business could affect their margins. But meanwhile, they believe this is a good space for a person to be in. Container Corp up about 3.5%. And finally, Bajaj Auto, that stock's been on a tear. And we had Morgan Stanley write on it. They write that re-rating of TVS has shown that the street cares more for the absolute EBITDA growth rather than just the margins. And with that, Bajaj Auto right now appears to be more focused on volume and EBITDA growth over the reported margins. So on the back of that, they expect the first quarter revenues to grow by 40%, the first quarter EBITDA itself to grow by 52%, and the company's aggression that Bajaj Auto has been showing across the segment is what keeps them away from TVS and Hero MotoCorp. Says go ahead, maintain overweight on Bajaj Auto with a target price of 3,785 rupees. Absolutely, and they're looking at the strong balance sheet as well. They're saying that Bajaj Auto in the next couple of years, the cash that they'll have in their books will be nearly around 24% of the total market capitalization as well. So that stock is doing well. By the way, keep an eye out on the markets. We're moving to the high point of the day. We're on the verge of kissing the 10,800 odd mark. Mangalam seems quite excited about that one. I don't know about the
kissing 10,800 mark or not, but seems like a lot of people are kissing that cigarette butt, which explains the sort of move that we're seeing on ITC is leading or taking the market higher above that 10,800 mark.
Maybe the lucky lady is receiving something from you. From
no
Titan.
one's receiving anything from me.
The high point of the day as well. But on that note, let's go straight to a quick programming note then. The brain trust of UTI, Leo Puri, Vetri Subramanian, as well as Amandeep Chopra will join us at 10 a.m. onwards on Monday, that's the 9th of July, to talk about the market, equity, rupee, as well as bonds and the likely trends for FY19.
All right, just keep an eye out on the Nifty. We were talking about whether it's going to kiss that 10,800 mark or not. The minute we took a break, the Nifty went ahead and, snuck. Yeah, that's a very sneaky one. 10,805 on the Nifty at the high point of the day, at the high point of this series itself. After 7 trading sessions, the Nifty has gone ahead and conquered that mark. Just keep an eye out on individual stocks that are taking the Nifty higher. We have ITC, of course, which has been the heavyweight out there taking the Nifty higher. And Hindalco, Bajaj Auto, as well as Vedanta, all three of them have also moved higher. I believe we have the management of Gujarat Gas with us. Remember, this morning reports came by from the newspapers that Gujarat Gas is looking to buy GAIL Gas's 50% stake in VGL for about 200 to 250 crore rupees. So to discuss this and more, we have Mr. J.N. Singh, the chairman, the chairman of the company, joining us now. Mr. Singh, if you could give us your comment on this news piece. Are you looking to buy GAIL Gas's 50% stake in VGL? And how much money are you willing to shell out for that?
We are quite serious about it.
Okay.
Actually, the money aspect, the exact number, I would not be able to tell you. But yes, we would like to extend our footprint fully in Gujarat as far as possible. So that is, yes, we are doing that.
All right, Mr. Singh, so you're clearly mentioning your intent that you want to go up from that 50% order. But I was just looking at an article, and it suggests that there is an amendment that needs to be done first. There's a clause when maybe more than 20% cannot be sold to Gujarat Gas. Do you expect that amendment to come about? Could that be a hurdle, or you believe that that's pretty okay? Like,
no, that thing we have been discussing since quite some time.
Okay.
Actually, we feel that yes, it will be through. That should not be much of a problem.
You don't feel that should be much of a hurdle for you?
Yeah.
All right. So you're talking about, the report suggests at least it's around 200 to 250 crores. How's your balance sheet looking? You have cash in your books. You have debt. If you could quickly tell us.
It would be. We are going to. We feel quite confident that our internal accruals and other things, even if we may take some loan also, that will be through.
What kind of cash that you have in your books right now? Internal accruals?
No, right now that I won't be able to give it to you.
It's public information, sir, right?
Yeah, either, that or with, overall its money is fungible. So either we take loan for some other activities or for this particular thing. That's okay. But it's certainly one of our important additions, and Gujarat is certainly one of the areas where we would like to be fully entrenched. So that it would be a welcome addition to our portfolio.
And from 50%, you look to take it to 100%, or will you look
No. It's historically, Vadodara Municipal Corporation has been doing this. So we are okay with that.
So this 50% stake, how much does that add to your volumes and revenue, sir? What exactly are the financials of the company that you're targeting right now to buy?
See, Vadodara Municipal Corporation and the Vadodara area overall has got a good portfolio of city gas distribution as well as industries and all also are there.
What are the kind of numbers that they do? Yeah, the volumes?
No, right now I do not really have the numbers with me, but it certainly be a good addition.
So short point, Mr. Singh, you believe that if you'll go ahead and increase your stake from 50%, it will be lucrative to Gujarat Gas and in turn all your shareholders as well. That's the point you're trying to make, right?
That's very clear. And similarly, in the 9th round of bidding, we are also looking at mopping up the remaining Gujarat areas reasonably. I won't say aggressively, but yes, we are looking to go ahead in that. And as you are aware, already we have in Amritsar, Bathinda and Thane. So they are also in the 9th bidding round. In other parts of the country also, we are bidding, certainly not aggressively, but yes, cautiously.
Fair point there. So that is as far as the bidding for new business is concerned, some acquisitions are concerned. But recently, your own business itself, sir, I tracked the ceramics space, and there was that news where Gujarat High Court had asked the GPCB to stop Morbi's coal gasifiers. Does that add more to your revenues? Because the last quarter you did the highest volumes that you did in 9 quarters. So 6.8 MMSCD. Do you think that goes higher?
You are absolutely right. you are absolutely right. So overall, we want to increase our volumes, both in the ceramic in the industrial area, as well as in the city gas distribution. City gas distribution is a staple portfolio for us. That apart, the CNG also for the vehicles and all, that also we are looking at.
Okay, Mr. Singh, a lot of the street is quite positive. They believe that if this change is going to come about to gas from coal gasifiers, then it could be a big spike in terms of volumes. You have the capacity, right?
Certainly.
If there is a demand, you have capacity. So if demand comes about, how do you see your volume shaping up, sir?
See, you look at our overall, the group gas companies, we are the parent company Gujarat State Petronet Limited and the Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation. So we have got a full portfolio. The entire range is there. We can get the gas. We can source the gas externally. And then, of course, through the trunk line of GSPL, we are supplying the gas. So we are fully committed, and that's not a problem. The volumes will not be a problem.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Singh, for joining us and stopping by at making an unscheduled stop and giving us direction as far as your acquisition and volume growth is concerned. With that, we'll slip into a short break, come back, we get you more on the market, stock-specific action, and the promised conversation with Mr. T.T. Jagannathan.
Okay, all right. Keep an eye out on our markets. We are talking about the kiss or the peck that, in fact, the Nifty did with the 10,800 odd mark. Went out there, give a slight peck, and then, in fact, it came down from those levels. But keep an eye out on the other, markets as well. There's the bulls that are romancing some of these Asian markets. Hang Seng market, that was down nearly around 400 points. Intraday chart should come up for you. That's recovered nearly 400 points from the low point of today. So it's looking quite romantic out there for the bulls, Mangalam.
Let me just remind you, Nigel, you're a married man. So what we're going to play next on the show will probably help you more than, romancing or kissing those markets, because we're talking about cookers, prestige pressure cookers. So let's go across to this slice of this special conversation that we had with Mr. T.T. Jagannathan himself of TTK Prestige from his facility in Hosur. He talks about the business and some really interesting trivia.
It's not really trademark, it's a necessity. And this happened because I was in the airport once. Okay. And my pants fell off. And I discovered that my body shape is such that if I don't wear suspenders, however tight I wear the belt, the pants can fall off. So that's when suspenders came.
35% of your revenues from cookers, 45% coming in from appliances. Where do you see the future of this company going forward? Say 5 years from now, how does your revenue mix look?
It won't be very different. We want to venture into the home space. Okay. And we're looking for possibility alternatives to acquire company. But I can't really predict what will be there in 5 years from now. We have decided that we will be 5,000 crores. Okay. And only 5% of that will come from home.
So at a 5,000 crore revenue profile of the company, which you say should happen in the next 5 years, what kind of margins would you be working at?
Similar margins as of today. We're being about 13.5% EBITDA margin. I think that should continue.
You are not looking to grow it to 15% or any more?
Very unlikely. In fact, we are the highest margin in the world in our business.
Let's wear your TTK Healthcare hat now. That company has about 20 different verticals.
Yeah,
you have some verticals like the foods business and stuff as well. Is there scope for restructuring there?
There is. Actually, we are thinking of actually demerging foods from TTK Healthcare and setting up a separate company of foods so that we concentrate on foods. It's a big market in India. It's growing very rapidly, and we want to concentrate on that.
How much of revenue do you make from the foods business? And
currently about 100 crores.
Right.
But it has potential to do 1,000 crores in 5 years.
In 5 years. And you will demerge that before that, or?
Before that.
In the next fiscal?
I think so.
For a business like this, which is so centered by the person who's running it, in this case, it is you, how do you make the structure much more institutionalized, and how do you reduce the dependence on you?
The last 20 years has been the effort. Now, today, I involve myself in product development and export. I don't run the company. It's completely run by professionals, and even these two areas, I'm slowly getting out of.
You inherited the company from your father, who inherited it from his father. Your children, they're not an active part of the business. Any particular reason why you did not want them to come into the business, or they did not want to come?
It's more like they did not want to come into the business, and there is a reason. We sat together one day when they were all at Cornell, and one day I was sitting and talking to them about this. And the conversation went like this, that what gives me the impression that they will be as good as me in this business, and when I can get good professionals to run it, why not do that? They're the beneficiaries.
Right.
They are the shareholders in the company. So the better the company runs, the more money they make.
So you have no comms with the family not running the business?
I have no qualms at all.
You've described your father as the man who never hurt anybody. How would you like to be remembered?
I don't know whether I want to be remembered at all. That, I think, is too much of an ego. I think other people should tell me what they think of me. But I don't want a legacy. I don't want this to be a legacy and so on. Company will run.
Oh, splendid, Mangalam. I mean, great, super. Besides the market, you learn so much more about life as well. Excellent interview. I'm looking forward, to hearing the entire interview as well, maybe later today as well as over the weekend, I guess. But splendid. Good on you, mate.
Absolutely. You get to learn a lot, and you just talk about a couple of quarters and all of that. That's doing disservice to a man who's been in the business for about 40 years.
What a story.
So what a story. We have to learn a lot from that. And, there's interesting trivia that he talks about his lineage as well. So we will keep playing all those bits and pieces throughout the course of today. But the stock market warrants our attention. AU Small Finance is one of the stocks which is down 7% in trade today, 5% now. And this is on the back of some news that Abhishek has with us. Abhishek, what do you have?
Well, Mangalam, the pre-IPO lock-in actually ends tomorrow. So the stock is down today, as pre-IPO lock-in includes investment from anchor investors and promoters. So total shares of 17 crore shares are under the lock-in, which will come up for, unlocking, and out of which, 9 crore shares are with promoters, so there will be no selling on that, and 8 crore shares, which is non-promoters, can come for selling on Monday. So this 8 crore shares actually forms about 28% of the equity. Now, it is not compulsory that the entire 28% will come in for selling, given the fact that we have marquee investors like Warburg, etc. So the stock has corrected from the recent highs as much as 10 to 13%. Recently, they had a capital infusion from Temasek by allotting 43 lakh shares and 1 crore warrants at 693 per piece.
Okay, all right. That explains why, in fact, the stock is under some pressure. Thanks so much, Abhishek, for joining in and giving us those details. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up from myself, Mangalam, as well as Abhishek. We wrap up on Chartbusters. You stay with us. Trading Hour comes up next.